Are you struggling to pass a component type to render in Angular? You're not alone. This is a common challenge for many developers. Today, we're going to explore how to achieve this and make your components more flexible. I totally get it. It can be frustrating when you want to dynamically choose which component to display, but you're not sure how to implement it. Many developers face this issue, and it can feel overwhelming. Here's the specific question we're addressing today. One user asked if it's possible for their base component, my base component, to be told by its invoker app which display component to use, either my display component or my other display component. Sound familiar? Let's dive into the solution together. To understand the issue, we need to recognize that Angular components can be quite rigid in their structure. However, with the right approach, we can achieve the flexibility we need. We'll explore how to use ng content and component factory resolver to make this work. And stick around. By the end of this video, you'll have a clear understanding of how to implement this solution, plus a bonus tip that will enhance your Angular skills even further. To allow the user to specify which display component to use, we can utilize Angular's content projection feature. This involves using the ng content directive in the base component. Next, the user should modify the base component's template to include the ng content directive. This will allow the display components to be projected into the base component. Now, in the app component, the user can specify which display component to use by placing it inside the myBaseComponent tags. This allows for flexibility in choosing the display component. Alternatively, if the user wants to use a different display component, they can simply replace it in the app component without changing the base component. Finally, the user should ensure that both display components are set up to receive the data correctly. This will allow them to display the data as intended. Fun fact, did you know that Angular was originally developed by Google? It's come a long way since its inception, and now it's one of the most popular frameworks for building web applications. Now, let's look at the answers provided by other users. One alternative approach is to use the ng template outlet directive. This allows you to pass a template from the invoker component to the base component. In the base component, you can use ng template outlet to render the specified template for each item in the data array. Another option is to use ng for template, which is similar but allows you to specify the template directly in the ng4 directive. This method also utilizes the content child decorator to access the template. That's it for that answer. Let's take a look at another one. An alternative solution provided by a user suggests using conditional rendering instead of ng content. They recommend passing a Boolean value to the base component to determine which display component to render. In the myBase component, you can use ng-if to switch between two templates based on the Boolean value. This allows you to render either my display component or my other display component based on the condition. That's it for that answer. Let's take a look at another one. An alternative solution proposed by a user is to utilize ng-switch. This allows you to dynamically choose which display component to render based on a specified type. You can set up a div with ng-switch that checks the type of component and renders either my display component or my other display component accordingly. Here's the bonus tip I promised. Always keep your components decoupled. This practice not only makes your code cleaner, but also enhances reusability across your application. And that's a wrap. Now you know how to pass component types to render in Angular. Remember, flexibility in your components can lead to cleaner and more maintainable code. If you found this video helpful, please subscribe for more tips and tricks.